Now, one of the plots we can add with this new 5 series MSO is an XYZ plot. So let's have a little bit of fun with that today. Now to do that, I'm going to play with this little circuit I put together a couple years ago that takes a composite video signal and turns it into X and Y scan voltages, and as well as the composite video output. Now, a couple things I've done to kind of optimize the display is I went into the horizontal and acquisition controls, and I've adjusted the sample rate down to just 2.5 megasamples per second. I'm dealing with a very low bandwidth signal here, less than 1 megahertz. So rather than use the full 6.25 gigasample per second that the scope can do, I figured I'd dial that down. And what that allows me to do is get a little bit faster update, of course, but also to take advantage of the high-res acquisition mode. With the high-resolution mode at this low sample rate, we've been able to take the 12 bits that the scope is normally producing for each sample and turn that into effectively 16 bits of vertical resolution. Okay, with those changes made in the horizontal acquisition control, we can close that box. Now let's change my trigger to trigger on, say, channel 2. And we'll trigger on the falling edge of that. This is essentially the vertical scan voltage that we're getting out of my circuit. Okay, so let's go add that plot. So I'll hit plot, select XYZ. I've already got the X and Y scan voltages and the composite video connected to channels 1, 2, and 3. So let's add that plot. That by default adds it to the top of the display. I can simply grab the title bar and drag that over here and put it off to the side. Of course, the composite video that we're getting here is a little grainy, and that's because I've really only got 2 video frames, or 2 full frames being shown, and so we're not getting enough to really kind of fill in the display. But it gives me a nice lively update because we're only grabbing about 40 milliseconds worth of data, so I'm getting a new update about every 40 milliseconds here. But if we want to fill it in and make it really nice and clean, we'll just grab a little more data. If I get up to the point where I'm grabbing almost a half a second, 400 milliseconds worth of data, so I'm going to get an update every 400 milliseconds, but now that display is going to be much cleaner, much higher resolution, to the point I've got actually a pretty good view of the circuit that's being used to create these voltages in the first place in order to display this composite video. Anyway, just a little bit of fun with the XYZ plot mode on the 5 series MSO.